What is up? What is up? What is up, y'all? Thank you for being here with me on this afternoon. Y'all know if you follow me for some time, I don't typically come on live at points of the day like this, but I felt like this was something that I needed to address on live instead of recording a video to talk about this situation. I recorded a video just yesterday on this topic, but new information has come forward. And I felt like I should bring it to y'all from my perspective. I know you can hear it from 1,000 different perspectives on them folks' platform, but I wanted you to hear it from me. For those of y'all who have followed me for some time, thank you, Bonnie, for being here and supporting. We appreciate you. For those of you who saw the intro, you know we like to take a few minutes out of every live stream to thank our supporters on this platform. And we did just that, and we appreciate each and every one of you being here. But we gonna talk about this situation because we just did a video on this yesterday. And I had so many people come forward that made me feel good about my presentation on this topic. Because listen, y'all, listen. If you understand what it means to be a YouTuber, as they call it, you understand anything you say is going to get some love, is going to get some hate. Either way you say it. So you might as well be real. Amethyst Angel, thank you for being here. Happy Mac in the building, thank you for being here. You might as well be real. It's the easiest route to go. Don't fake it. Just speak from the heart. Say what you mean what you say, and understand that some people are going to love you for it, some people are going to hate you for it. And I had a couple of comments that were dropped in my comment section on a video that I did just yesterday. Let me see if I can find it here. Boom, 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 boom. Sorry, y'all. I should have had this queued up. Somebody said, all these blackity black sound so ghetto. It's on the video that I released yesterday. All right, I ain't gonna long stroke you. I ain't gonna hold y'all here. Basically, what people said in the comments, some of my faithful few, was that they appreciated my perspective on the topic of Karmelo Anthony and his first-degree murder charge. Y'all, he's been officially charged with first-degree murder in this case. They appreciated my perspective on it. They appreciated how I came without emotion I was calm, had a steady hand. Well, that's because of my background and my education in topics like this. I understood what was going on. And I gave my honest opinion on what I thought in the situation based on the facts that we had that were publicly available. Y'all, we ain't got no access to no behind the scenes stuff. We just out here on the internet complaining about stuff. That's what we do. I'm thankful for y'all who appreciate what we do. But I took to the internet and I said, hey, let's give this brother a chance. Let's give him his due process because each of us as Americans are entitled to that. Yeah, the facts don't look good. Looks like things might be in bad shape in this boy's camp, but let's give him a chance to mount his defense, to state his case before a jury of his peers, that which he is entitled to, and we will make a judgment thereafter. Well, y'all, I went to sleep last night after making that video yesterday. I went to sleep last night feeling good in my spirit. I felt okay. I felt like I got it off. Felt like I expressed myself to y'all, and y'all came in my comments and said, thank you for being you. I said, oh, praise be to the Most High for sending me down the life path that I've been on to educate me and inform me in certain situations. Listen, yo, the great Frederick Douglass once said that it is easier to raise strong children from birth, to nurture them and raise them up in the right way. It is easier to raise strong children than to try to fix broken Negroes. Now, I'm paraphrasing. He didn't say it just like that, but listen, even in my experience, and those of y'all who have followed me for some time know that I started out in the music arena. And I came to understand that as I talked to various people from all over the country, all over the world, that they were broken men, masterful at a certain craft, at a certain skill set, masterful. But they were broken. Based on their experience, based on the point that they were at in their lives, they were broken. So I hearken back to Frederick Douglass, who said, hey, it's easier to raise up kids to be better people, to instill certain qualities in them. It's easier than to get them at this age and find out how broken they are and try to repair that brokenness. Y'all, I found that out the hard way. This is why I talk to your kids the way I do, because certain lessons I found out the hard way. So in my own work in the music arena, I started working with younger people and younger people and younger people. And I found myself getting down to where kids were 6, 5, because I'm trying to get them headed on the right path before they get misdirected, misguided, before they get infiltrated by the community. Y'all, we got to take some responsibility and understand that we are contributing to this in a certain way. So I found myself wanting to work with younger and younger and younger children. You know what I found? That the opposition, those who operate in the demonic, those evil spirits, they also recognize that. So they have been working. See, it's easy to see in my state of California. Y'all who live in other states might not recognize it, but in California, you see that they recognize the same thing that I recognize. It is easier to be able to influence children at a younger age. So you see teachers with blue and pink and purple hair, and they get out here and they start doing their thing in the public school system, and they want to attack your children younger and younger and younger with those evil influences. Well, we who are out here standing on business for the community, we want to attack them younger and younger too. Because we understand that what Frederick Douglass said was truth. It is easier. It is easier to raise up strong children. If you start from day one, from the beginning, and you plant those seeds in them kids and you rear them in the right way, it is easier to do that than to find them at 20, 25, after they've been broken. And you try to correct that activity, it's much more difficult at that level. So what are we talking about today? The same thing we was talking about yesterday. That video that I poured my heart into, that some of y'all recognized. And that's the thing that touched me, y'all. Because I understand that no matter what I say on this platform, some people gonna love it, some people gonna hate it, some people gonna be indifferent. We understand what it is. So it's easiest to just be genuine on this platform and to see that some folks recognized what I was trying to convey and saw my heart in my presentation. That made me feel good. And I went to sleep at peace. Only to wake up and see, even though I saw yesterday and I reported on it, that this young boy at 17 who stabbed another young boy at 17 in the heart and unalived him at what was a simple sporting event, supposed to be a simple sporting event. There are so many people on public platforms on social media that are trying to racialize this event. Thank you all for being here. I see all of y'all in the chat. I'm trying to get this off my chest, so I'm not putting so much on the screen, but I thank you all for being here and supporting. I'm just trying to get this off real quick. This black boy. And see, some people come at me sometimes and say, why you pay so much attention to the blackity blacks? Well, if you follow me for some time, you know that I roast the blackity blacks and the whitey whites evenly. I try to be fair all across the board, the blackity blacks, the whitey whites, and everybody in between. It's just how I approach every subject, because I want you all to feel like I'm fair in my assessments. But here we got a situation where people have racialized this thing, because you got a black boy who pulled out a knife and killed a white boy in Texas. Of all places, in Texas, boy. So I retained or refrained from giving my full opinion because I didn't have full facts in this situation. I said, okay, I'm gonna hold back on this, because you know the first reports that come out are usually not completely accurate. So we found out more information and more information as time has gone along, and this boy is now officially charged in Texas with first-degree murder, and charged as an adult. Wow. And I said in previous videos on this, even though I didn't go all the way in, I tried to be fair, y'all. I tried to be balanced. I tried to be even-handed as I assessed this situation. I said, I just said this yesterday, I hope this boy is able to get the legal representation that he deserves in a situation like this. Why? Because I understand the high stakes in this situation. I understand what he's facing, even in Texas. I understand all the racial undertones and overtones that are going forward in a case like this. And I said, boy, good on you, because I know I've heard through the rumor mill, through media reports, that your family has raised over $500,000. Sorry, y'all, there's some landscaping work going on outside. I hope you can't hear that. But the boy's family raised over $500,000. And I know that all these people around the country and around the world donated $5, $10, $50, $100, whatever you gave. I know you gave it because you were compelled. You were moved in your spirit. You were moved in your heart. You said, based on the information that you had, some of it real, some of it not. Y'all got to understand, don't believe everything you hear on the internet. Some things are true, some things are not. Some of y'all go to work every day. Work hard for the money. I think that was Donna Summers who sang that song. Some of y'all work hard for the money. Working third shift and whatnot, and gave what you could to this boy's GoFundMe, give, send, go situation. GoFundMe kicked him off. He had to move to give, send, go. Some of y'all gave some money. This boy raised over $500,000. I said, good on you. Now, listen, let me put in this shameless plug because the reason I can relate to boys like this is because I've been boys like this. Yeah. I've been in this boy's shoes, not his exact shoes, but some similar shoes that are close enough to understand. Let me put in a shameless plug for a friend of mine. I'm going to call him a friend. His name is Douglas Horngrad. Y'all look him up. Look him up on social media. He out there. He don't post much, but he around and he lurking. We have very different political viewpoints. But as I was a young teenager, Douglas Horngrad, my favorite attorney in the whole wide world, was retained by my father, and he saved my life when I made some stupid decisions, some mistakes similar to Karmelo Anthony. Y'all, follow him on X. Reach out to him and tell him that I told you to contact him. If you got some friends or family who are in bad situations, they down bad, reach out to Douglas Horngrad. Because when I was a stupid teenager, he saved my life. One of the greatest attorneys in the world, in my opinion. I would recommend him to anybody caught up in a situation like this. But on the video that I made yesterday, I said, y'all, I hope that this young man, thank you, honey, y'all love. I ain't trying to tell it all. Songwriter said, I just can't tell it all. The things that he's done for me. Came across this story on yesterday after I recorded my video trying to advocate for this man to get his day in court. I don't think he's going to survive it. I think he's going down. I think he's going to prison, as he should, if he just killed this boy for no reason, because there is no reason that a boy should go to a school-sanctioned track meet and never make it home. I can't think of a reason. And when I look at the facts of the case and they say, oh, well, a rainstorm hit out of the blue. It was a surprise to everyone. So everyone ran for cover. Folks ran to their cars. Folks ran to tents. Everyone ran for cover. Just trying to escape the rain. Well, I ain't never lived in Texas. Now, listen, let me just give y'all full disclosure. A couple of years ago, I was looking in Frisco, Texas. I was looking in the area. Thought it might be advantageous because the California economy is crazy. Listen, y'all. Listen, as of July 1st, we're going to get a gas tax of 65 cents per gallon. Gas going up. It's already in my area $5+ a gallon. In LA, $7+ a gallon. They finna tax us another 65 cents a gallon. Just taxes out the blue. I know some of y'all who live in certain other areas can't even fathom that thought. It is what it is in California. We are being dominated. We are being controlled. We are being oppressed in this state by the state government. But we deal with it. It is what it is, okay? But I did look into Frisco, Texas, in that area because I see that they are doing certain things. Well, this case happens to come out of Frisco. The boy goes to a track meet with a knife in his backpack. Listen, I try to be fair based on my education, based on my background, based on my knowledge of the law. I try to be fair with certain situations, but I knew when I saw this situation pop up on my radar, I said, this boy went to a school event with a knife in his backpack. Well, I want to know what kind of knife. And I, to this day, as I sit before you, I still haven't found out that. So those things matter to me because I want to know the nuance. I want to know the smallest detail of the situation. Was it a kitchen knife? Was it a pocket knife? Was it what kind of knife was it that he would have it in his backpack? And they are running this boy through the ringer. He is under the highest scrutiny for his actions and activities in this circumstance. And all I did, y'all, was advocate for fairness in a case like this. Because you got one 17-year-old kid who killed another 17-year-old kid by his own admission. He said, I did it. Yeah, I did it. But it was self-defense. Okay. Well, it turns out yesterday we found out that the grand jury has video evidence that you and I haven't seen, even as we sit here and we banter about a case like this. We haven't seen the information. We haven't seen the evidence. But there is a video in that stadium across the way. Says it was a distance away in the announcer's booth that was shooting down on that situation. And for some reason, some way, somehow, it didn't catch the stabbing. Caught everything leading up to it, says 10 minutes before the incident, but it didn't catch the actual stick. That's not on camera. But a grand jury has indicted this young man as an adult. So we're going to charge you, the DA says, we charging you with first degree, not second degree, first degree premeditated situation. I said, oh, wow, okay. Well, let me put myself in a situation of a juror. And I've never served on a jury. And it's regrettable to me because I always wanted to serve. I want a big case. Give me a good case. My wife served on a murder case. I was so jealous. I'm like, she get to mull over the evidence. She get to hear these attorneys argue. I'm like, man, I want to do that. But every time I get selected for jury duty, I always get dismissed. You know why? Because I say, may the best attorney win. If you got facts that align with the law, that allow your attorney, that allow your client, as an attorney, allow your client to get off, well then, good on you. That's the way our system was built. I'd rather see one guilty man go free than an innocent man imprisoned. It's just how I feel about it. So if I'm on your jury, boy, you're going to have to go. The burden lies on the state. You're going to have to convince me you have the burden. Now, it ain't looking good for this blackety black boy. And I didn't come out here and say that to y'all on this platform, but that's how I felt from the beginning. Boy, why you walking around with a knife in your backpack? Who you think you are? Where you think you live? You in Frisco. It's good in Frisco. I thought about moving there and moving my family there. And you in Frisco walking around with a knife talking about, boy, if you put your hands on me, you gonna find out. Whoa, who kid is this? Well, y'all, I ain't gonna hold you forever because this is the midday, and I don't usually come on live at this time of day. I thank each and every one of you for being here, but let's get to the story so we can talk about it a little bit. Because I talked about it just yesterday on a recorded video, and now I've come across some new information. Says from the Daily Mail here, y'all. Says Karmelo Anthony's brutal reality check after murder indictment for the stabbing and killing high school athlete. Karmelo Anthony could be sent back to jail after he was initially granted house arrest following an indictment for fatally stabbing a fellow high school athlete. The 18-year-old claimed self-defense after attacking and stabbing 17-year-old Austin Metcalf in Frisco, Texas during a track meet in April. His spokesman, Dominique Alexander, which I gotta say, y'all, is probably the worst spokesman I've ever seen in a case like this. Such high stakes, and you got this dumb blackity black dude out here making ignorant statements on your behalf. Sit this dude. I don't know where y'all found this dude. I don't know where he come from. Sit him down. Amethyst Angel in the chat says his family is pimping him. His spokesman, Dominique Alexander, told the Daily Mail that Anthony may be returned to custody after a Cullen County grand jury charged him with first-degree murder on Tuesday. They might lock him back up. Now, he had $1 million bond at first, which I thought was excessive. Now, if you take into consideration the facts of the case and you say, these two kids, a 17-year-old dumb, ignorant boy. Now, y'all blame me if you want to, but I've been a 17-year-old dumb, ignorant boy before, so I can relate in a certain sense. So when his bond was reduced from $1 million to $250,000, I said, okay, cool. Let him out, put him on home arrest. Don't let him go nowhere. Leave him at home. I thought that was fair. But then I saw, y'all, something incredible to me. His family, after taking advantage of this racially charged situation and saying, we need money, we need help, we need assistance in this circumstance because this boy has been charged. Hey, I can understand that. Stupid kids make stupid decisions, and parents may be placed in a situation where they need a little assistance. Okay, I get it. Thought $1 million bond was excessive for a circumstance like this. Where the boy gonna go? Where he gonna run? Bonding is not meant to be punitive. Bail is not meant to be punitive in the system. It's just not set up that way according to the word, but according to application, sometimes it becomes excessive. So when it got reduced, I said, okay, $250. The boy gonna stay at home. He can't go nowhere. He's not a threat to society, and he's not a threat to run. I think that's okay. However, more details came out. The story continues. We don't know who the judge will be, Alexander said, but any judge can make any decision they want. It's entirely up to them. Anthony was 17 at the time of the incident and has since turned 18. He maintains he acted in self-defense during the altercation at the high school meet in the affluent Dallas suburb. Affluent. Y'all, this wasn't in the hood. This wasn't in the ghetto. Why is your son, this blackity black boy, in a affluent neighborhood? It was affluent when I looked at it, thinking about moving my family down there. Looked pretty affluent to me. Looked pretty cool to me. Why is your blackity black son walking around with a knife in his backpack? Well, I'm not going to answer that for him. I'm going to let him answer it because he may have felt certain energy in that environment, behind that gate in that community. He may have felt certain things as a nappy head blackety black. He may have felt that certain things were necessary for his protection. Okay. Well, you may have certain little birdies on your shoulder speaking into your ear, telling you things that may or may not be true. But this boy has now been charged based on the evidence presented to a grand jury by the district attorney of that county. He has now been charged with first-degree murder, being charged as an adult. As a 17-year-old making dumb decisions. But here's the rub that I got today, and this is why I'm before y'all today. It took me long enough to get to it, right? But it turns out, y'all, that this boy, let me see if I can pull it up here for y'all. This boy and his family. See, this is why I don't advocate for reparations, and I get so much heat on them folks' platform for feeling the way I do. I say, if they gave y'all Negroes reparations, y'all would go out and buy trucks and rims and Gucci belts and all manner of foolishness. So I don't advocate for it. I don't support it. I say, when I get in your kid's ear, I say, listen, live your life as if reparations ain't coming, because I don't believe they coming. Hey, if somebody drop a bag in your lap one day and you feel some kind of way about it, cool. Great on you, good on you that it happened to you, but you better live your life in such a way where you don't think it's coming, because I don't think it's coming. If it happens to you, then a good surprise on you. But this boy right here, who raised over $500,000 on a Gifts and Go campaign because GoFundMe kicked him off. His family sold a narrative on social media to y'all, tapped into your emotions, got you emotionally invested in the story to where you said, I will give $5, I will give $10, I will give $50, because I believe this thing is so emotionally charged. This boy has already been convicted in the arena of public opinion. In the court of public opinion, he's already been convicted and hung up, strung up, sentenced to die. Let me give $5 to his campaign. Let me give $10 to his campaign and hope that other people will tap into a situation like this and agree with me. Listen, y'all. And this ain't no shade. This ain't no jealousy. This ain't no nothing. Listen, you got people out here like me who are out here trying to do a good work in the community. And we say, listen, if somebody gave us that kind of money, if somebody donated to us that kind of money, we would do so much good work in the community. It would be incredible. But we understand it's a hard fight with a short stick. And y'all got people out here who are what I call the acronym Negroes, who hide behind these made up acronyms that just surfaced within the last decade or so. And they tell y'all, hey, we gonna build a black museum, a blackety black museum, not understanding how much it takes to curate an authentic museum. Say, y'all, I need $1 million. And the blackety blacks line up and say, I'm going to give and support this. And it turns out ain't nothing but a juke joint. Ain't nothing but a juke joint in the hood that got a couple blackety black posters from the swap meet, and they put up there. It's an event space. They told y'all it was going to be a museum. Do you understand the type of money it takes to curate a museum? They reeled y'all in like a sturgeon, like a snapper. Reeled y'all in, and y'all gave all that money, raised $1 million, You know, what you think $1 million gonna get you as far as a building in Los Angeles? Listen, y'all put up a look. Urban Southern Cookie say we have been waiting 9 Dr. Omar. Wait. We have been waiting 9 Dr. Omar to get his school started for how many years now? Yes. Yes, we got those voices, those personalities, those people out in the community, and they always advocate. Y'all know what? If I raised that kind of money, I would. There's a person I follow on social media. He says, listen, if we are going to change the political circumstance in this country, we have to change the culture. Now, unlike me, where I started out in music and then started doing political commentary. Well, Tim Pool started out in political commentary and then started doing music and skateboarding and all kind of other content because he said, we're going to have to change culture. I agree with it 100%. We got to get out there and change culture if we're going to change the narrative in this country. And it's going to take us working together, but y'all can't be throwing money behind a juke joint. If I had that kind of money, I would put out films, film productions that I've already written and try to change the narrative of what goes on in our community so that we wouldn't have Karmelo Anthony's walking around. Okay, I digress. Let me get back on track to what I came on here live to tell y'all. Karmelo Anthony has just filed in Texas. His family, his team, his people have filed after raising $500,000 from you blackity blacks, has just filed as an indigent defendant, saying he need a public pretender to represent him on a murder case, bro. You charged with first-degree murder and you gonna put it in the hands of a public pretender? The C students in law school? Man, you gotta be kidding me. Your family done rented a house behind the gates, $1 million house. They bought a new SUV, probably put some dubs on it, probably got some 15s banging in the back. See, this is why I don't advocate for reparations, because I know y'all. I don't know everything, but y'all, I know y'all. Y'all gonna walk out and get Gucci belts. Y'all gonna walk out and get some jewelry, some blingity bling. Y'all gonna go out and get some ice grills and whatnot. With y'all reparations money. This boy, in a critical situation where his life hangs in the balance, raised over $500,000. And I just said in a video yesterday, I hope he gets the representation he deserves in a case such as this. This ain't no regular case. I've told y'all before, if you follow me for some time, you've heard me say I could prosecute this case and I could defend this case based on the same set of facts. I understand what he's facing. It ain't easy. It ain't good for him. But I could represent this boy if I had to, based on the facts that I've seen so far, and we ain't seen them all. I'm in the public just like y'all. There's certain things we haven't even seen a video. What I've heard in these stories based on the Daily Mail says the actual sticking don't even appear on the video. Oh, that's interesting. You can see what led up to it. You can see the aftermath after it, but you don't see the actual event. Oh, yeah, that can be prosecuted or can be defended. But here we go with the DA announcing charges on this boy.
Good afternoon. Earlier this spring, our community was shaken by what happened at a school track meet in Frisco. The violent loss of 17-year-old Austin Metcalf. For weeks now, my team has been presenting evidence to the grand jury, and today I summarized that evidence, and I asked the grand jury to return a first-degree murder indictment against Karmelo Anthony, which they did. With this indictment, the case now moves formally into the court system. From this point forward, we'll continue doing our job both fully and fairly to pursue justice under the law. As for the scheduling of the trial, that will be up to the court. But when the time comes, we will be ready. Now, we know that this case has struck a deep nerve here in Collin County and beyond. And that's understandable. When something like this happens at a school event, it shakes people to the core. But let's remember that the justice system works best when it moves with steadiness and principle. That's what we're committed to, and that's what this case deserves. We're also mindful of Austin's family and everyone who loved him. Please keep them in your thoughts, and if you're willing, your prayers as well. Finally, let's remember that a defendant is presumed innocent unless and until proven guilty in a court of law.
Sorry, y'all. So we've heard from the district attorney. We've heard the charges are being filed against this boy. We've heard that he's going to seek justice on behalf of the citizens of Texas. But the part that I didn't hear on yesterday, that I'm just now hearing today, which is why I'm before you at this moment, is that the $500,000 that this boy has raised, over 500, has just been elevated. It has been raised from 500,000 to $1.4 million. No. Oh my goodness gracious. I'm on my X account, y'all. It's on X. Right Angle News Network is reporting breaking. The family of Karmelo Anthony is now seeking an additional $1.4 million in donations for the legal team, quote unquote, legal team, despite receiving nearly $500,000 from the original fundraiser just 2 months ago, raising questions about where those funds went. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. What are we talking about? We're talking about a family who came out here in these YouTube streets, these internet streets, and had a tragedy that they capitalized on, that their child was involved in. And you know what? This makes me feel a little piece of sympathy. Now, let me tell you something, y'all. I'm even-handed in this. And I understand, I sympathize with the family of the boy who was unalive, because ain't no reason I can think of in this world that you should go to a school event and not come home. Should have your heart punctured such that you are unalived at that event and your family never hear from you again, never see you again. It's over. No, this should not happen in a lifetime. But I've worked with young men like this. I've been criticized for being sympathetic to boys like this. But I've been a boy like this in my life, and I can relate to how detached they might be, how ignorant they might be, how unintelligent they might be in certain circumstances. They're all just one bad decision away from crashing out just like this, throwing their whole life away. But when I see these latest facts come to the forefront, I say, oh, no. Reel all that emotion back in. This boy is one of these street Negroes raised by some ghetto hood rat Negroes who wasn't taught right, who wasn't living right, who put a knife in your backpack and got out here and thought you was some bad character you saw in a movie or on TV or something. How do I know that? Because when your family got an infusion of cash, an infusion of assistance, an outpouring from the community who said, we just want to help you. We ain't rooting for you in no way, but we understand that you deserve your day in court to tell your story because it's not being told out here in the mainstream media. So let's support you such that you can hire a qualified legal team like Douglas Horngrad. You can hire a qualified legal team to get out here and represent you in the right way. Boy, they gave you some money to the tune of over $500,000, and now your family is saying you need $1.4 million so you can move your family to a safe space, so you can get some counseling, so you can get some security. Listen, ain't nobody giving you all that. Who do y'all Negroes think you are? Which tells me this. This boy wasn't raised right. He wasn't raised right. Which is why I started with Frederick Douglass, because it's easier to raise strong children, to raise them right from birth, their upbringing, to bring them up in the right way. To bring up a child in the way that it should go, such that when they get old, they will not depart from it. It is easier to do that than to take a child at 17 who's been raised wrong by a ratchet single mama, by a daddy who chose not to be present. Chose. And this boy got to deal with all of this. Easy Rollins said, self-defense. Self-defense how? You gonna argue self-defense? There has to be a reasonable belief of a threat to your life or serious injury. And see, this is the thing you learn in law school, this fallacy of the reasonable man, the reasonable person. Well, who's going to determine what's reasonable? That them 12 people over there? They're going to determine whether it was reasonable or not. Somebody walk up to you and say, hey, you under my tent. Get out from up under here. You say, hey, bro, I'm hiding from the rain. Don't touch me again. If you touch me, you're going to find out. and the white boy say, hey, touch. Oh, you going to challenge me? Don't touch me again. Touch. And then you poke him in the heart. You unalive him on the spot because he touched you. No, if he touched you, then you are legally within your rights to touch him back in the same way he touched you. But if somebody walk up to you and slap you in the mouth, you can't shoot them in the head. You reasonably have to fear for your life or serious bodily harm in that situation. Now, we don't have all the facts. Peace talks. We don't have all the details. We don't know. We're not going to sit on the jury. It ain't even up to us to figure out. We just getting trickles of information that come out in the mainstream media. But when I hear that his mama bought a new truck, when I hear that his mama is renting $1 million house over there behind the gates, when I hear that his mama is flexing on the money that was donated to his legal defense, this is why I don't advocate for y'all to get no reparations, because people put a couple bucks in your pocket. You get 2 nickels that you can rub together. You gonna go ahead and get out there and floss and flex for the community. Everything that you never had in your life, you going out and you gonna buy it. You're going to flash on everybody. You're going to post it on social media like these people did. And then when it comes down to it and the rubber meets the road and you say, oh, we need to pay for an attorney. Oh, it's going to cost us $1 million or $2 just to defend this case. Well, I bought a truck, though. I bought some bling, though. I got a new house over here, though. I spent the money on all that ghetto blackity black foolishness. And here go the whole community that entrusted you with their coins. They working third shift. They out here working construction. They out here working city jobs, doing whatever they can do to make ends meet, living check to check. And their heart was pricked in order to send you $5, $10, $20. Only to find out that none of that money go to this boy. Because the boy and his family has just filed, y'all, in Collin County, Texas, has just filed as indigent defendant, saying he needs a public pretender. Now listen, y'all, this is what rubs me the wrong way. Now I understand $5. If you had spent the whole $500,000, you might have burnt that whole $500,000 up in pretrial litigation, even to get you to this point. Because it's a qualified attorney gonna charge you $50,000 just to look at a case like this. Send me the file. I'll review it from A to Z and tell you what can be done, what our options are, how you should approach it, how you should move forward. $50,000 just to look at it. They blew the money. And they have filed with the court to say that this little young Negro is indigent. No, his parents is ignorant. Yeah, I said it. IGNANT, ignorant Negroes that spent this boy's money that was donated to him for a cause. You bought an SUV and a house and you living good. And now this boy out here flapping in the wind with a public pretender. Y'all, you can go down to any local courthouse. These cases are open to the public. If you ain't got nothing better to do and you want to entertain yourself in the midday like I'm sharing my day with you today, go on down to the county courthouse and just sit in the hallway and you'll see that the public defenders are underpaid, they are overworked, they are facing prosecutors who got all the funding in the world and got the police force as their investigators. Oh, they got all the muscle. And the public pretenders are under the gun. Not only are they the best students in law, not only are they not the best students in law school, but they get in these situations with these underpaid jobs where they got a caseload that they can't manage. So you sit there in the hallway and you see them running out of the courtroom and say, hey. And they'll open their folder and say, Mr. Johnson. They don't even know who their client is. They looking around the room, Mr. Johnson, where you at? Mr. Johnson say, hey, I'm over here. They say, hey, Mr. Johnson, you facing, according to this file, you're facing aggravated assault. You're facing drug possession. You're facing whatever you're facing, but I ain't never even seen you until now. I came out in this hallway and didn't even know your face. We got to go in that courtroom in 10 minutes, Mr. Johnson, and I ain't never even met you. I ain't never even talked to you. I'm saying, Mr. Johnson, this is your case file. I'm here on behalf of such and such county. I'm your representative. I'm your lawyer. I don't know nothing about your case, sir. You know why? Because I got 300 cases piled up on my desk, just like yours. Yeah, I'm burnt out on all of this. I'm tired of all of this. I'm tired of seeing blackity blacks that look like you showing up in this hallway every day. And I got to run out here and meet them 10 minutes before court. This is my job. This is my life. I am the public pretender. Mr. Johnson? Or Mr. Anthony? You gonna put your life in my hands, Mr. Anthony? I got a dozen cases just like yours. You gonna put your life in my hands? Where I got to juggle back and forth all of these cases, all of these facts, all of these witnesses, all of these circumstances. I got to juggle your case in between the rest of my caseload. Whereas, Karmelo Anthony, whereas if you had maybe $500,000, you could hire somebody like a Douglas Horngrad to represent you, who could focus only on your case and say, hey, I'm turning everything off for the next 6 months, next 12 months. This is the case I'm focusing on because I need to save my client. That's the difference, y'all. And then to find out today that this boy's family has filed an indigent packet for a public pretender. Listen, it says breaking. Karmelo Anthony submitted an indigent package to the Collin County Court requesting court-appointed legal representation as an indigent, financially destitute defendant. However, just 24 hours ago, the Anthony family updated their Give, Send, Go campaign to reflect a need to raise an additional $1.4 million for a legal team. Karmelo Anthony's mother, Kayla Hayes, who manages the Give, Send, Go, stated on April 17, 2 months ago, that they had just gained access to the funds. At that time, they had already raised $350,000. The fundraiser has now reached $538,000. According to a source, their current known attorney, Mike Howard, is more than likely charging a retainer fee of $10,000 to $30,000 and charges $400 to $500 per hour. So what you gonna pay for competent counsel that could represent you in a case like this? This ain't easy. These cases are hard fought. And in order to mount a proper defense, you're going to have to call in expert witnesses. That's going to charge you $100,000 just to testify. And what are you paying for? You're paying for their experience and their expertise. You're paying for their resume because they're a scientific expert at MIT or Harvard or some major university like that. And they're saying, I will come in and testify on your behalf and give my opinion on the science, my paid opinion on the science of the case. But if you ain't got no money, you can't afford to mount no defense like that. If your mama spent the money on an SUV and lavish vacations and a new house behind the gate, what you gonna do, young buck? Oh, I know what you gonna do. I ain't finna say it on this platform, but it ain't gonna feel too good, bro. I know what's gonna happen. You're going to get that good old Texas treatment, and it's so pathetic and shameful that your family don't care about you enough to make proper decisions to put you in a situation where you could even have your rightful day in court and tell your story. Because if you facing these kind of charges with a public pretender, boy, you ain't got no chance. You might as well take the deal. This tweet continues, says, where did the money go? Why do they need 1.4 million? Will they be granted indigence and an appointed attorney with a Give, Send, Go of this magnitude? Is this considered fraud? My goodness. Our sister Amethyst Angel, thank you for the 2 sis, says, Daddy is silent. Mama is mouthy. Thug is front. We ain't got all the details of the case, Amethyst Angel, but we got enough to make an assessment from where we sit and say this is shameful. First of all, it's shameful that it's such a blackety black and whitey white narrative that's going on here that is pitting one community against another. It's sad. I don't support it. I don't even respect it. And I believe that the majority of Americans that are in the middle, not radical to the right or radical to the left, most of us who are right there in the center, we understand what this is and we can come together and agree on certain facts of this case. A boy shouldn't have died. A boy shouldn't have had a knife at a school event. Don't matter what the race is, don't matter what the color is, that's irrelevant to these facts. Shouldn't have been a knife there. And a boy shouldn't have lost his life that day. Now, we can work out the rest of it, but those of us who are centered can agree on at least that. But here we are dealing with these facts, y'all, where I hearken back to Frederick Douglass for a reason. And I focus my attention as of late to a younger demographic for a reason, because we got to catch these kids before they become 17. Before they make bad decisions like this and throw their lives away in a split second. Throw it all away in a moment. Crash out in a moment. Well, it ain't just a moment. Based on the information that I'm getting from this case, it seems to me, y'all, and you correct me if I'm wrong. Look, you don't have to agree with me on this platform. If y'all have been rocking out with me for some time, you understand. You don't have to agree with me on everything. Just agree to be respectful. I respect your opinion as you respect mine, and we just gonna have a discourse. We're gonna have a dialogue about it. But in this situation, it didn't have to happen the way it did. And when the facts come out, as the facts continue to come out, I'm saying this boy might not have been raised in the proper way. This boy might have had some bad influence in his life. This boy, which boy? Both of them. Oh, somebody ain't gonna like that. Because this blackety black should have no knife in his backpack taking it to a school event. On the other hand, the whitey white shouldn't approach nobody that you don't know talking about, bro, you gonna get up and you gonna move or I'm gonna move you. Really? Well, that's an interesting perspective, sir. You just gonna put your hands on somebody you don't know and just gonna move them up out of a public seat? Seems like everybody is at fault. How about that? Everybody wrong. Everybody got dirty hands in this circumstance, but one person didn't go home that day. That is troubling. And for that, somebody is going to have to pay a price. And no matter what price you pay, no matter what sentence you get, it ain't going to bring that boy back. You made a commitment to a permanent act in a situation that could have been temporary. The rain was going to go away. The bleachers was going to dry up. At some point, everybody could have moved back into place where they were, and the track meet could have continued. That ain't the way it worked out. And you know why? Because that ain't the way God wanted it to work out. I'm just crazy enough to believe that God had his hand on this circumstance and it worked out exactly like he wanted it to, because God don't make mistakes. So here we are with one teen who has lost his life. His family will mourn him forever. We got another teen who will be charged as an adult with first-degree murder, and his family punked off his legal fund such that he got to file for a public defender on a murder case, murder one. That's why I don't stand with y'all. That's why I don't support y'all in certain circumstances. Because I was raised among y'all. I am y'all. My family is y'all. I know y'all. And y'all will punk off some reparations just like they punked off this boy's legal fund and left him out here flapping in the wind and now out here begging for another 1.4 million. What you gonna do with that? If you had another 1.4, what you gonna do with it? The same thing you did with the 538,000? You gonna punk it off? You gonna buy a new SUV? You gonna get some dubs and a Gucci belt? Go on some lavish vacations while this boy is sacrificed? Your family is capitalizing on your demise, young man. They didn't care nothing about you. They never cared, which is why you ended up with a knife in your backpack, because no one cared when you were 3. No one cared when you were 5. No one cared when you were 10. No one cared when you were 15. And at 17, you made that fatal mistake. That would end it all for you. And these people who never cared for you, they don't care now. And if you give them $1 million more, you still ain't going to have the kind of legal representation that could help you in this circumstance. I'm not going to say it's the legal representation that you deserve. Everybody deserves to be represented, but everybody don't deserve to have elite counsel, especially in cases where they might be guilty as sin. See, people find themselves in bad situations all the time where somebody might call you the wrong thing and you crash out. Somebody might spit on you and you crash out. Somebody might lay hands on you and you crash out. In a state like mine, this is not a stand your ground type of state. If somebody breaking, listen, y'all, because some of y'all don't understand what I'm even trying to convey here. In California, if someone breaks into your house, if they cross your threshold in California, you sit in your house watching MasterChef, clicking the TV, and somebody breaks in your house, California says you have a duty to retreat, to run in your own house. What does that mean? That means if you do the right thing that I would do in a circumstance like that, you might be charged. You gonna be charged. Let's just pack it up and put it right there. You gonna be charged. You might as well anticipate being charged in that circumstance. Now, listen, I'm gonna need you to do the right thing in the right circumstance. I need you to do what is necessary in the circumstance, because it's better. I didn't make this up. I heard it somewhere round the way. Said it's better to be judged by 12 than carried by 6. Well, this boy gonna be judged by 12 in a circumstance where the actual poking and sticking wasn't even caught on camera. It's gonna be up to eyewitness testimony. And if you've ever tried a case, you know that eyewitness testimony can be some of the worst testimony ever. It can easily be impeached. If you ever served on a jury in a trial, you know that it is difficult to get 12 people to agree on anything. What does that mean? That means this boy always got a shot if he can get competent counsel. I ain't advocating for him to be let off if he's guilty. But I understand how the system works, and I understand that one side has what we call a burden. It's a burden. I mean, it's your responsibility to prove these things. It's not his responsibility to disprove them. It's your responsibility to prove them. You represent the people. You represent the state. So get out here and do your thing. Prosecute this case fairly. Give this man his day in court. But I am dismayed, y'all. I ain't gonna say I'm upset because I ain't that invested into circumstances like this, because I've had thousands of circumstances like this where I have had to talk to minor children and try to set them straight after making mistakes like this. I've seen it all before. But it ain't every day that you see a case where somebody can get public sympathy to the tune of $538,000. And you punk it all off and say this boy ain't got no money for a lawyer. Boy, listen, there's some things I want to say to these blackity blacks that I'm not even going to say on my channel. But listen, if I could read y'all, I would do it. Because it tells me you ain't cared nothing about this boy his whole life. You ain't put the right principles into this boy. You ain't put the fear of God into this boy. You ain't put the fear of nobody into this boy. This is why he felt like he could just say, hey, if you touch me, bro, you gonna find out. Austin Metcalf said, oh, really? I'm an athlete just like you. See, if you ain't never been an athlete, you don't understand the type of testosterone that flows through these boys, and everybody is macho and showing out for their classmates and all. You get in a moment like, oh, touch you? Touch? You ain't said nothing but a word. You gonna dare me? Oh, all I needed was a dare. I'm gonna touch you. And this boy say, okay, I told you not to do it. Now I got to stick you. Now I got to slice you. Now I got to stab you. Now I got to throw my life away in a split-second decision. Listen, y'all, this is this is a bad case. And I just wanted to share it with y'all in the moment because I just came across this new information. This boy's family is begging for over $1 million, saying they needed to move to a safer place, saying they needed for security, saying they needed for counseling, saying they needed for all sorts of reasons. Well, chick, you had the right kind of money you needed for all of that, but you chose to spend it on a new truck and a new house, and that was your come up on your son's downfall. How you gonna come up on his downfall? Thank you, Amethyst Angel, for the 2. Says, despite the fam letter, he'll end up taking a plea. But you know what? I understand it to a certain degree because I understand the process, Amethyst Angel. So there's a certain part of me who says I can analyze this information, this evidence, and we can go back and forth in pre-trial. I can get as many charges dropped or as much evidence excluded as I can and try to weaken your case as much as I can and say, okay, right before we go to trial, okay, now let's cut a deal now that I got half of your evidence excluded. I get that. It's part of it's part of pre-trial litigation. I get it. I understand it. But you got to have competent counsel to even go that far. And you saying you a brokety broke now, how far are you going to get when your attorney is charging you $500 an hour? And some of y'all don't understand. Listen, when you in law school, they teach you the whole game on billing. It is crazy. If I'm sitting in traffic on the way home and I'm thinking about your case, I could bill you for it. If I'm sitting at the dinner table talking to my wife and she says something that triggers me to think about your case, I can bill you for it. If I'm sitting on the toilet thinking about your case, I can bill you for it. So you're talking about legal fees that will become astronomical. And I know the community only donated. Listen, I know my people. They only donated because they felt like this boy was being demonized and convicted in the court of public opinion. And they said, listen, he at least deserves a day in court. Can we not hang him out here in the media and just throw him away just like that without him even getting a day in court? So I'll give you 5, I'll give you 2, I'll give you 10, I'll give you whatever. And it added up. It just started rolling in. Only to find out that this ghetto family cared less about this boy than you did. Now, you didn't care about him personally. You cared about the circumstance, because some of y'all could see your own children making mistakes and being caught up in circumstances like this. You've seen your own nephews could be a Karmelo Anthony. So you were compelled to give. But you sowed into bad soil. Yeah. You planted in bad ground. And now that these people have burned up all the money and ain't got no money to afford an attorney, they coming to you again with hands out, begging. They begging, Bonnie. They want more money. That wasn't enough. You gave 2, it wasn't enough. You gave 5, it wasn't enough. You gave 10, it wasn't enough. We need more. Or else Karmelo Anthony will be charged and convicted with 99 years sentenced by a judge. His life will be gone forever. Well, you know who life is gone forever? Austin Metcalf. Oh, y'all don't like that kind of talk. His life is gone forever in the blink of an eye, in a moment. Because some nappy head Negro decided to pull a knife out his backpack that he shouldn't have had in the first place and poke it through this boy's heart. Now, listen, y'all, listen. If Austin Metcalf had came up to Karmelo Anthony and said, bro, you got to move. This ain't your tent. You got to be up out of here. We don't respect you. We don't respect your school. Y'all the ops, y'all the enemy. We out here racing against y'all today. We ain't trying to be next to you. We ain't trying to socialize with you. Get up out of here. Had Austin Metcalf said that and Karmelo slapped him down and beat him down and even stomped him out in those bleachers, I'd have felt some kind of way, but I'd have felt differently than I feel now. I said, oh, he found out that day. He learned a lesson. Probably won't do that again. Well, as young people in high school, as teenagers, y'all got to understand how some of these kids get down. And those of you who are in my age group, they don't get down today like they used to get down when we were in that age group. So you got to add that perspective to the situation. Had you stomped him out, I'd have felt differently. But for you to unalive him by your own admission tells me a lot about you as a person. Yeah, we don't have all the evidence. We still waiting on more details to come out. We're not serving on the jury, so our opinion don't even matter that much. We just out here talking on them folks' platform. But I talk such that somebody somewhere might gain some perspective, gain some insight from me in this instance. 2 boys, 1 black, 1 white, which is causing all the division in this case. But let's take the color out of it. 2 boys, both 17, in a conflict at a school event. One loses his life because of the actions of another. Shouldn't happen, ever. If a boy challenges you, if a boy disrespects you, then y'all lay hands. Fight it out. Donald Trump even said sometimes when he talking about Israel and Iran, he talking about Ukraine and Russia. He said sometimes when you get kids on a playground, sometimes you got to let them fight it out before you break it up. Your president even said that. Sometimes in situations like this, when you let them fight it out, one wasn't raised like the other. One doesn't have the same moral compass as the other. And sometimes when those two elements of society meet, one has an advantage over the other. One has a weapon, one doesn't. One has a mental condition, the other doesn't. One has a father in his life, the other doesn't. Are we able to consider those things, y'all, as we consider this evidence? Because this is a whole mess. And the blackity black community is always so misguided in so many circumstances. They always fall for the okie doke. This is why you can't give them no reparations, because they just gonna fumble the bag. And we all gonna be sitting here looking like, I told you so, bro. I told you they was gonna do it. You think I donated anything to Karmelo Anthony? No. Because I can see this coming from a mile away. I can see this circumstance. I see where y'all going with this. Why was your son at a track meet with a knife? I got 4 sons, ain't never stabbed nobody in the heart. What kind of Negro is this that you raised? See, y'all trying to blame the 17-year-old. I'm going deeper than that. Let's go a little further. I want to know who the parents are. We see the mama coming out here with her poor representation, and she getting a spokesperson for the family who's a bad representation. Where the daddy at? Where the granddaddy at? Who taught this boy? Who spoke into this boy's listen? Is there a preacher? Is there a pastor? Is there a bishop? Is there somebody that can speak a word into this boy's life? Because when I look at the circumstances, I say, but for the knife, we'd have had 2 17-year-olds scrapping. And you know what? That's healthy. That's healthy. Let them boys scrap. Let them boys get that testosterone on. Let them get it off. That's all Donald Trump was trying to say to y'all. This is how men become men. They first start out as boys and they act a certain way. But see, this ain't manly behavior. This is cowardly behavior. Yeah, this that foolishness. It's that stuff that the community be supporting that I can't support at all. Had y'all duked it out at that track meet? Put up them fisticuffs and one got the better of the other? This wouldn't even been a story. We wouldn't even known about it. Y'all, this in Frisco, Texas. I wouldn't have known about this in California. Why do I know about it? Because it's been so racially charged in the media and they trying to get us to be at odds with each other. Thank you, Amethyst Angel, for the 5 cents. Did the victim's family run a GoFundMe to bury their son, to hire private security to protect them from their racist haters? Yes, I said it. See, this is what it is, y'all. It ain't gonna sit right with your spirit. It's gonna hurt a little bit, but you got voices out here in the community who talking like this. Somebody started a GoFundMe for Austin Metcalf's family, and he raised, last I heard, it was over $600,000 for the deceased family. So both sides were able to raise money from crowdfunding in this case because it was so racially charged. You had the whitey whites give it to the white family and the blackity blacks give it to the black family. Only to work out just like this. This black boy gonna be charged. And he telling the court, I can't even afford an attorney right now, a private attorney. I need a public defender. Who knows what the Metcalf family spent their money on? They're being private. They're not being exposed in this way because they ain't out here begging for more money. Karmelo Anthony's family is being put on blast because they out here begging for more money. Like $500,000 wasn't enough. Well, y'all, here we are to deal with this circumstance on the outside looking in. We just tapping on a window trying to get more information, but as it comes out, our feelings will come out in situations like this. I'm thankful for each and every one of you who has spent your afternoon with me today. It's been incredible. We found out some new information about this case, and I felt like it was worthy of my opinion based on the people who tapped in with me yesterday and said, bro, I'm so thankful for your perspective. Said, I'm so thankful for you being a calm voice in this situation. I'm so thankful for your opinion. Well, I hope y'all still feel that way. My opinion is what it is. I try to be even-handed, whether I'm talking about the whitey whites or the blackity blacks. And that's why I got people from both ends of the spectrum who rock out with me, because they know that I'm trying to be fair in my assessment, no matter who I'm talking about, what the subject matter might be. If you are blackity black, I need you to understand there's some dirt bags on the blackity black side. If you are whitey white, I need you to understand there's some dirt bags on the whitey white side. And everybody in between. We got good and bad in every shape, size, color, creed, gender. We need to understand that. And we need to live our lives with that understanding. We will all be better off in the end. Will I be dedicating or donating any money to this boy? No. Do I feel sorry for this boy? Absolutely. Because I've been 17 and I understand that 17-year-olds ain't got it all up here, especially if they wasn't raised right. If they was raised by a crazy single mama who put some ignorance into their mind as a young child, he ain't got it all. And in circumstances like this is the culmination of bad decisions that have occurred before this. This ain't the first time this boy made a mistake. But maybe when he was 8, the mistake wasn't handled correctly. Maybe when he was 10, he wasn't disciplined properly. Maybe when he was 12, the rod of correction was not laid upon his backside, such that he would think differently. It is all led up to this point in this boy's life where he is now facing spending the rest of his life in prison at 18 years old, y'all, crashing out, ending it all at 18. And I hear some people out there saying, no, eventually he gonna take the deal. Okay, they just gonna weigh it out. They're gonna play it out. They're gonna walk it up to the finish line and then say, okay, we'll take the deal. Well, at some point, the DA might not give you the deal because he has constituents also who want to see a certain end to this case. And if y'all take it too far, see, that's a gamble. That's the gamble you play. And if you got a C student lawyer who don't know how to read the room, you might overplay your hand to the point where the DA say, the deal is off the table. We want life. 18 years old, your life may be gone. But never forget, at 17 years old, you took another boy's life. His life is already gone. It ain't coming back because of your actions. Yeah, we understand he may have approached you. He may have accosted you. He may have put hands on you, but you could have handled it differently. And that reasonable man, that fallacy of the reasonable man is going to pop up in that courtroom. And And everybody is going to weigh every decision that you've made in this circumstance against that reasonable man. And if they find it unreasonable, you're going to find yourself in some unreasonable circumstances where at 18 years old, you locked up with some animals, with some criminals, with some savages. And once you go in there, ain't no guarantee that you'll ever make it out. So we pray God's blessing upon this entire situation, both families, because they both gonna need healing after this. Whether your son perished in this circumstance or whether your son was sacrificed by bad familial decisions in this circumstance. I agree with you, Bonnie, 100%. It's a loss on both sides. Ain't nobody winning in this. It's a terrible situation. And I just thought I would share my opinion with you based on new information, even since I did my video on yesterday. So I hope that y'all have enjoyed this. I hope someone gained something from it. And I'm glad that you took the time to spend an hour and a half with me today going over the new facts as I see them. And we might just come back tomorrow on Friday night and bring this back up because it seems like this story ain't going nowhere no time soon. So we may have to revisit it on Friday night. Y'all like the video, share the video, tell a neighbor, tell a friend that we doing something over here, trying to be positive for the community and for the kingdom. I appreciate each and every one of y'all. All of our mods in the building, Honey K in the building, Urban Southern Cookie in the building, Amethyst Angel in the building. Everybody, thank you, Bonnie, for supporting the channel continuously and being around. Look, who else we got? Krista Knight in the building, Joshua Northern in the building, Rick Spigot in the building. Thank you all for being here. I ain't trying to miss nobody, but I appreciate you all for being part of the chat, keeping a vibe right in the room and rocking out with me on this afternoon. Y'all meet me here on tomorrow on Friday night, where we will reconvene and we will talk about some more stuff that is happening in our society. There's so much going on right now, so much reason to be prayerful. I appreciate you all. I love you all. I say it all the time. I thank you for rocking out with me in the midday. And I'll see you on the next one.